Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for another live review, player ratings, player analysis, tactical analysis, whatever you want to call this, plus a little bit of transfer news in there as well, because I haven't actually managed to speak about this whole Lukaku stuff yet. So that's what you're here for. We're joined by two very, very special guests. I'll introduce them in just a second. Of course, Chelsea drew a pre-season friendly against Tottenham 2-2 today, which was fun until we scored the 2-0. After that, it was a bit dead. But yeah, first half was great until when we scored the 2-0 was great. Then Timo Werner showed up, and then Tottenham scored 2 goals. So, that was brilliant. Now, we'll enough time for Timo Werner banter in a minute. But let me just introduce my guest. Of course, we are joined by Mr. ConnCFC, our regular for these player rating live streams, alongside Pice, of course, who will be back probably for the Super Cup. But Con, first of all, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And thank you for coming back on.
See, I'm on time today, guys.
Big up.
About the last time. That's like 10 minutes late, but I'm here now on time. See, Laurenz has got me whipped into shape, so excited to talk about the game. As always, Laurenz, my guy.
Brilliant. Love to hear it. And we're also joined by a guest who some of you might have seen on the channel before. He has certainly been on before. My good American friend who doesn't consider himself properly American, but Iranian, but lives in America, Mr. Next Generation Football Podcast, but also Shayan, even though it's taken me about 3 years to actually learn how to pronounce your name. First of all, thank you for coming on. And second of all, how are you doing?
I am feeling good because Chelsea are back and they were able to walk out with the greatest trophy that any man can win in this world. Yes, there's the World Cup. Yes, there's the Euros, but the Champions League, when it's held by Cesar Azpilicueta, is things that I love to see every day when I wake up and go to sleep. So I'm happy to be here.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Also, big fan of us mugging, Tottenham off. Big fan of that. But yeah, there's a lot to discuss today. Obviously, like we did for the Arsenal game with Con already, we're probably not going to do actual player ratings because there's too many bloody players. We'll be here for 4 hours because obviously it's not just 11 plus 3 or 5 subs. It's like 22 players or 21 because we didn't sub the goalkeeper. So it would be too much. But there is still a lot to discuss. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to get through. But also what's to get through is a little bit of admin, which is subscribe if you haven't already. We already have 65 people watching, so that's brilliant. Get subscribed if you haven't already. Help us reach the big 12K on the road to 15K still. But get subscribed, smash the like button. I need at least 60 likes right now because, come on, you're just here. Might as well click the button. Doesn't cost you any money. Doesn't cost you any time. Just go down below, click it. And if you fancy it, also use the super chat function, of course. Supports me massively and it's always massively appreciated. But, of course, you don't have to. But yeah, let's probably get into the game. Let me just get up the lineup. I mean, I can actually just remember it, man. It's fine. It's fine. Obviously, Mendy was in goal, who played the full 90 minutes today, which I thought was interesting. But we started with the same back three that actually started against Arsenal, even though they positionally weren't the exact same, because this time Trevor Chalobah was the right-sided centre-back, Kurt Zuma in the middle, unlike, against Arsenal when it was the other way around, with Antonio Rudiger still being the left-sided centre-back. Callum Hudson-Odoi remained as the right wing-back. Alonso returned to the squad for this game. He wasn't even involved against Arsenal. I was already hoping he would be sold, but sadly not. Then we had a midfield two of Kovacic and N'Golo Kante. Kante coming in instead of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, of course. And then we remained with the same front three of Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner, and Kai Havertz. And let's not kid ourselves, other than maybe the first 3 minutes, that first half was really good. Like, we made Tottenham look like an absolute amateur football club. We smacked them left, right, and centre. Should have been 2-0 up. But that's why we need VAR in the Premier League because, linesmen clearly don't know how the offside rule works because he was so far onside. I can never comprehend how he was ever given offside there. But, Con, what did you make, first of all, of that offside decision, but in the first half in general, I suppose?
Yeah, the officiating file too friendlies. Let's be honest. Call a spade a spade. It's been horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he was clearly onside. When we saw the replays, clearly onside. But it's only a friendly game, so we ain't going to cry about it too much. It counts as a Timo Werner goal in my book. So
the problem is it doesn't count as a Timo Werner goal in his book, and he needs every bit of confidence he can get.
It's all right. I'll lend in my book, bro. I'll give it to him. Just get his library card out, and he can give it to me.
Brilliant. Love that.
But yeah, the first half was fantastic. We just showed the levels, to be honest.
Yeah.
With Champions Europe versus a Europa League conference side, and just simple as that. I think Ziyech was unbelievable in that first half. He's showing why I really wanted him last year. Well, last year, whenever we signed him, I can't remember now. I'm a bit tired, excuse me. But Kai Havertz looked nice and sharp as always. Timo Werner did score though, but N'Golo Kante as well, absolutely sensational. He's just too good, isn't he? He's a cheat code. And Kovacic as well. I don't think I've seen a lot of people praise him, but I think he had a really good game today, Cover.
I
Especially
agree.
when Bakayoko came on, was doing the job of two people. So, yeah, that first half was unbelievable from us.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Like, honestly, you couldn't really complain about much. The domination was good. The press was good. The ball retention was good. The dribbling, the passing. I was kind of happy about everything. There was a couple of players who maybe I wished for a little bit more from. For example, Hudson-Odoi couldn't struggled a bit to get past Reguilon. Obviously, Reguilon is a good defender, but he never really quite managed to get past him. Havertz, I know you said he looked sharp, but I thought just because of how talented I think he is, that's why sometimes I expect a tad more of him. Not that he was bad by any means, but just like he could have been a tad better. And Timo, I mean, yeah, scored a goal, which was a good goal for the first time in what feels like ever. A perfectly timed run, a great pass by Hakim Ziyech, rounds the keeper, slots at home, and then obviously the liner gets it wrong. I know what you mean. Obviously, it's a friendly. Who cares at the end of the day? But I would have rather won than drawn today. And obviously, if we had been, was that at the time? That would have been a 2-0 at the time already. But everybody else in that first half, I mean, Mendy didn't have to do much, I suppose. But aside from Mendy, everyone did a good job. Trevor Chalobah, Zuma didn't have that much to do either, but Rudiger took a very good care of Heung-min Son. Kovacic, Kante, like Con mentioned already, absolutely fantastic. And Ziyech, wow. Wow. Like, I mean, I'm not sure if we've spoken about it directly, Con, but I've certainly said on a number of times, if there's one player who we can probably sell of the forwards, if we need to sell one of them, it's probably Ziyech, because I was like, he's 27, like now 28. I think like it shouldn't take him that long to get going. But unless he's Ross Barkley and just is good in preseason, that was fantastic. Like he would that. I mean, he should have been robbed of an assist as well by the Lino, scored 2 goals. You can honestly not ask for more of a performance. I can't lie. But Shayan, what did you make of it first of all? And also, how good was Hakim Ziyech today?
So Ziyech. This is the performance I think every Chelsea fan, their moms, their nans, their uncles, their misses wanted him to have since he's joined the club. It seemed like he wasn't playing. It almost seemed like the whole of last season, he was almost playing like half-heartedly, not because his mindset was not in the club. It almost seemed like he was hurt. He was limping throughout that season. I mean, preseason, he's looked great. I mean, a game against Arsenal, he looked really good. And obviously he was able to capitalize today with getting 2 goals, very Ziyech-esque, and not much to complain. Just kind of got dull once the players that were playing so well in that first half. That was the kind of caliber of performance I think all of us have been wanting since the start of this season, since the Champions League final. And that's what we were expecting out of Thomas Tuchel. And then it kind of was a little bit dry when certain subs came on. Obviously, people in the comments are already saying Timo Bakayoko. I mean, he's the one who stands out the most to me. I don't understand how he's made it, because it's almost like as if we're in like we're in a tryout right now. So players are trying out. Each one, they make the cut, they don't make the cut, and you slowly start seeing the squad get smaller and smaller. And I'm surprised Bakayoko has made it this far into the Chelsea preseason trial run for them, as I don't understand what he brings to this team anymore.
Yeah, it's honestly baffling. Obviously, he hasn't had minutes yet. So, like, you know, Alonso was left out of the Arsenal game, but now comes back in. This time it was the likes of Barkley missing out. So, you know, it's always chopping and changing, I suppose. But yeah, he had an absolute stinker. We'll get to Bakayoko in the second half later, but I still want to stick to a little bit more praise before we get into the negatives, because, like I said, the first half, I was very happy with that. I was also interested to hear after the Arsenal game, Tammy Abraham was speaking in an interview saying they've been working on the pressing for you know quite a few days in a row, basically in training, and I think that pressing work has really like paid off. Like you could already see that first match under Thomas Tuchel, after just one training session, we pressed better than we ever did under Frank Lampard in 18 months. But now these last 2 games seem like another serious step up, in my opinion. And sure, not every player, but the way we press cohesively, it doesn't even seem like we press like crazy all the time, because it's not like sprint all the time and going at people. It's like we press cohesively as a unit, so people just don't find ways through. That's why Tottenham had all these balls over the top. Sure, some of them were a bit threatening, but in general, we dealt with them. But that was just brilliant to see. And the way it was weird, because Kante's first 10 minutes were super frustrating because he got all these tackles in, but every time he won the ball, he lost it straight away again. But after 10 minutes, he found his feet, and then he was just amazing. Like, obviously, he won the ball in the 15th, 16th minute with a lovely tackle. Ball falls to Ziyech. Ziyech is kind of on the zero pressure, runs for about 20 yards, and then from another 20 yards out of goal, just hits the ball, smacks it into the bottom corner. What a strike. I don't think anything the goalkeeper could do about it. And let's be honest, that Spurs keeper was good today. He made some good saves. So that was a strong strike by Hakim Ziyech. Obviously puts us 1-0 up. Then the whole Timo Werner chance happens. Hakim Ziyech plays him through. Obviously scored, but the offside flag came up. But yeah, it was just the first half was good. We definitely had other moments where we could have done a bit more with it. Timo Werner had a couple where we could have done a bit more potentially. Was Kai's shot that he had in the first half and the second half? I can't fully remember, but it was certainly brilliant. And even the start of the second half was good. Although I will say, we nearly conceded just before we scored. It was already, Bakayoko comes on, first time he touches the ball pretty much, gives the ball away. We kind of get them back out of the danger zone, but they come back in. And then Chalobah with an incredible last-ditch tackle to keep Son out. And then pretty much on a, not counter-attack, but on the reverse attack from that moment and then from the following goal kick, we make it 2-0, which is, you know, I was just on there watching along on Chelsea Fan TV. I was just talking about, yeah, Alonso, by his standards, having a good game. And then he obviously shuts me up, as he usually does, and plays, obviously, a low cross back into Hakim Ziyech. And unlike Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech actually knew how to control the ball, shoot the ball, and score the goal, which is brilliant. I think it took a minor deflection. I'm not sure whether it was just the goalie or a defender as well. But obviously, that puts us 2-0 up. Are in a great situation. But then what happened, Con? Then what happened?
I think the subs really killed the game for us. Their first goal was a bit lucky as well. Like Lucas shoot, it was Lucas, right? And it was like a crazy deflection that goes in. So I don't take too much of that. I think it was it Sarr's mistake as well?
Yeah,
if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So yeah, it's just players that you're not going to even see in the squad this year making a mistake and they're scoring a lucky goal from it. So I wouldn't really read too much into that. Just before I just want to mention Ziyech again because I feel like his first season. It was really hard for him. Mm-hmm. But I think people forget when he first came back from that injury from pre-season last year, I think it was against Sheffield. He was man of the match. He was
brilliant.
Yeah, he had like a 3 or 4 game period where he was fantastic, but then he picked up another injury again. So he's got it in him. Yeah, he might be a bit one-dimensional, but he's so different to everything else we have. He's the one player who will take that chance. Like today, he lost the ball a fair few times, let's be honest, but he also created a fair bit and scored twice, you know? And that's the type of player he is. He's a risk taker. And we've always cried out for that, you know? We've had Willian over the years, Pedro, etc., always looking to pass back or, I don't know, passive, a bit negative. Ziyech is the complete opposite to that, and it's refreshing. And I hope he carries this form up because I think he can be really important, especially if we get like a Lukaku. But anyway, like with Bakayoko and all that, Laurenz, I'm not really going to bash him too much because I think we all know he's not good enough for Chelsea. I think Chelsea don't want him at the club. We're just trying to get him some match fitness so we can ship him out on loan, maybe to whatever team that wants to take him. After today, don't know what team would. But yes, I'm not going to bash him too much, but he was dreadful as per usual. Can't say I'm shocked. Sarr really... Do you remember last time we said we didn't know what to make of him? Now I think I've got a bit more of a clearer idea of what to make of Sarr. Really wasn't impressed with him today.
No.
And yeah, like we just made so many subs and Tottenham desperate for a win, just leaving their first team 11 on. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, yeah, that first goal, obviously Bakayoko giving the ball away. Like I said, we get it out. But then it comes in and obviously it's Lucas in the end, like you say. But the frustrating thing, and TK13 mentions it here, it was lucky, definitely. But I agree with that. And that was not just that moment and not just Rudy, the whole defense. There were so many times Tottenham had the ball just outside the box and they were literally lining up to shoot. And we never closed them down. Son had a deflected shot early in the first half. There was so many situations, especially in the second half, where Zuma, Rudiger, Chalobah, and whoever else came on after, they just never closed them down. I'm like, don't give them time to bloody shoot, you mugs. And then obviously that's in the end how the goal happened because Rudiger was slow to close Lucas down. In the end, Lucas' shot gets deflected by Rudiger and bounces into the goal, which obviously was unfortunate. But before that, what I actually was kind of hinting at, but don't worry, Con, it's fine, was Timo Werner's first absolute shock over miss, right? I mean, the guy tries to volley it from the penalty spot and tries to aim for the bloody corner flag. I've never seen anything like it. That was ridiculous. Obviously, he had a chance after we actually did okay, and it was a good save from the keeper. I will give him that. But it's again a situation of this is why we need Lukaku, and we'll talk about Lukaku at the end. But the amount of chances we had in that second half, like we should have scored 17 goals. Like it's ridiculous. How we only scored 2 is insane. Pisses me off. Do you know what I mean? I can't handle it. And like whenever Werner gets the ball, like his touch is bad, his passing is bad. There was 2 good moments he had in today's game, aside from the offside goal, right? Once he tried to go for a shot, it got deflected, got blocked, and fell to Ziyech. He had a shot and almost scored. And then obviously the one that I just mentioned, the chance at still 2-0, I'm pretty sure. And just after that, obviously they scored the 2-1, like Con was explaining. But and the second goal, we mixed it up. So the first one was Bakayoko's fault. The second one was then Sar's fault because, you know, Sar basically just gives the ball away. We have only 4 or 5 men back. It gets squared to Bergwijn. And then he just, Mendy hopefully got that one howler out of his way, because if Mendy does that again, I will flip my everything, because that's outrageous. You can't get Meg there. Like, what are you doing? I know you're big. I know you have long legs, and it's easier to make someone tall than someone short. I get that. But no, that can't, like, that's not on. Like, you can't be doing that. It's a friendly, so I let him off with how amazing he's been for us. But that's, like, if we're going to criticize Bakayoko and Sar, we need to also criticize Mendy, because that's awful, right? Like, that, absolutely shocking. But how did you see that second goal in particular, Shayan, but also, of course, the first one, if you have anything to add about it, and obviously Timo's misses, I suppose.
I have to admit something. I didn't see the second goal because obviously I'm not rich like Laurenz, not making all this YouTube bread, so I didn't pay for it. So I was watching on an illegal stream, and it cut out when the second goal happened.
This is why I paid for it, because I was doing a watch along. I was like, first of all, it's for charity, I guess, but also, like, I can't have a stream being taken down right in the middle of this now.
No, that was actually the only instance it went down, sadly. So I didn't see the second goal, but I know Mendy was megged, and it was basically Sar's fault based off of the notes that I was reading from it. But the first goal, it was incredibly, like, I don't know. It was just like a shit goal, you could say, because, like, what is Dele Alli doing with this pass? Because he basically it was not going to go to anybody, and then actually coincidentally deflects to Lucas Moura. And then obviously people would say, okay, Rudiger should have closed him down a little bit more, but it's not a big deal. At least you're getting these errors out of the way. Timo, you know, I don't know. He's just like, he's a baby that I just want to cherish. So I don't really have much criticism. In my opinion, I don't have much criticism for him. And I think.
But he's 25, bro. Not a baby.
I know. But like when you watch his interviews, like when you know those like fun interviews he does, he's like a child, you know?
That's
and I kind of like.
But maybe he should consider becoming a stand-up comedian instead of a footballer.
Yeah, maybe he should change professions possibly. But I think he did everything all right, all things considered. I didn't think he was going to keep the form that he had last season continuing into this season, which is it's fairly annoying to see. I don't think what didn't help him at all was the Euros, because I feel like he was even worse in the Euros. At least his performances for Chelsea aren't like how they were for Germany during this summer's competition. But yeah, I mean, that one shot was bad. You just got to feel a little bit bad for him because he scored and he was offsides. And I literally was saying to myself, oh, that's typical Timo to score and then for it to be offsides. And then you see the replay, and it was actually a really good run, all things considered. But I don't know. I think that shot was really bad. When that happened, I was like, oh, that's like typical Timo Werner stuff. This is going right into the highlight reel of misses. And so the slander begins. I don't know. I'm not going to look too much into it. I think all things considered, he's creating chances. He had a lot of half chances that he was able to get shots. I think it's how it's pronounced. The keeper's name, Golini, made good saves. He didn't spill many of it. But in most cases, if you hit it low and hard, the keeper's going to spill it and it puts something in the mix. So that's just how I viewed it. But yeah, I mean, it looks like based off of what happened today with Malang Sarr and everything else watching throughout the game outside of the goal, looks like he's going to be a make way. I believe like originally when he came into the club was obviously because he was a free. It was to make money off of him, sell him for around possibly 20 million. And people were, I mean, it seemed like Thomas Tuchel maybe wanted to use him, but it looks like maybe Chalobah's kind of going in higher in the pecking order, or the American Matt Miazga. I don't know. It seems like they're almost a little bit. When Matt Miazga went from the Red Bulls to Chelsea, I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy to see. And it seems like Thomas Tuchel maybe is liking the performances Matt Miazga is having for him, and same with Chalobah. They're both, it seems like they're ahead of Malang Sarr in that pecking order. So he's probably going to be a make way. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone very soon. Cashing in that 20, 30 mil, slowly racking up money that builds towards a Lukaku or Haaland possible signing close to deadline day a week or two before that. So we'll see what happens.
I feel like Cheyenne sometimes, because he's in Seattle in America, I feel like he lives under a bit of a rock that's called America. Because the fact that you think it's going to still take until deadline day or that Haaland is still a possibility, I think you missed everything. Like, Lukaku is basically on the plane, bro.
I know, but I could still. I mean, with that away jersey, anything is possible. Like it basically looks like a Dortmund kit. You can't even kid yourself here. We're literally.
And then the home kit ruins it. Oh, yeah, it's true.
What do you mean the home kit ruins it? I think you think the away kit's better than the home kit? Really?
Way better.
What?
The away kit is beautiful. The third kit I can accept because it's a third kit.
I haven't seen the third kit.
It's not official, but it's a weird type of camouflage type, blue, orange, whatever. So, but that's the third kit. Like, you can go crazy with that. If what we did on the home kit, that kind of weird pattern, if we did on the third kit, fine. But not on the home kit. Don't give me that. Anyway, I want to quickly touch on this comment here by Clutch before I put it to Con talking about Timo and stuff, because, Cheyenne is the ever positive, which I appreciate in you, I will say. But Clutch saying here, Timo is keeping out players like Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi who would do much more on that side, meaning as the left inside forward, instead of being put at right wing back, which is obviously true. Just to clarify, by the way, we made 2 subs at halftime, which was Bakayoko coming on for Kante and Pulisic coming on for Hudson-Odoi, slotting in at that right wing back spot, which I found a bit weird. Pulisic has now played 2 games in a row in pre-season, and both times he played at wing back. Once at left wing back, once at right. That's weird. Not sure what I think of this. But anyway, yeah, I agree with that, Clutch. I genuinely agree with that. I don't think Pulisic was great. We'll get onto Con with that as well, because obviously he's a bit of a Pully fanboy. And I touched on Hudson-Odoi, decent, runs, but never got past Reguilon, which was a bit frustrating. But yeah, it's just the Werner thing. I can't see, honestly, Cheyenne, like, as much as I appreciate the positivity, I can't see how, say, like, he did okay, like, the goal, sure, but like, he missed. Like, you need to take these jumps. That's why we're talking about needing a striker. Like, you can't play like that and expect to win your club to win the league. Like, it just doesn't work like that.
I think for me, it's because I've already set my expectations. Like, I'm just realistic now. I already know Timo isn't what we were hoping for from RB Leipzig. So it's kind of like we're starting from the ground up with him. I know what I'm expecting out of him, and that's kind of, that's how I view. That's why I'm not that bugged by any of his quote unquote bad misses today. And I think I look at it maybe in a manager or coach's viewpoint is he's making chances. He's putting in the work. He's doing the team game. Cause I mean, you can easily score the goals and still kind of be a dick on the field. At least he's not a dick and not scoring goals, which that was basically Alvaro Morata. I take those. So yeah, that's just how I view it. That's just my point of view.
I get that. That comment made me chuckle. Timo's first start just like his last. Awful. So, Con, what did you make of Timo in particular? And obviously, I suppose the debate that me and Cheyenne are having, whether he was awful or whether he was okay.
I think he was awful, to be honest. I think the fact that people think Pulisic had a bad game just shows how bad Werner was today, because he created 2 big chances for Werner. If Werner scores them, people say Pulisic's had a good game because he's got 2 assists. If there's Lukaku there, I'm pretty sure he gets at least 1 assist there. So that's how bad Timo is at times. He makes others look bad because you feel like they haven't done much in the game because Werner's missed, and all your attention's on that Werner miss and not the player who created the chance for him. So I'm getting bored of him, Laurenz. To be honest, I'll back him. I'm done with like saying I want these players out and like coming out and abusing them. Like, I'd rather use my platform for more positive things, right? Mm-hmm. But he's going to find himself on the bench. Pretty much as simple as that. If we get Lukaku, we need to make room for Lukaku in the front line. Timo Werner's bench. Is Kai Havertz going to get benched after the Euros he's just had? Not a chance. Is Mason Mount going to get benched at Chelsea? Not a chance. The way Ziyech is playing right now, is he going to get benched? Probably not. So who's going to be benched? Timo Werner, you see Pully and Hudson-Odoi both playing as wing-backs. They've got options there to play. They probably won't, but there's another option for their lad to get on the pitch for Chelsea. So he's just going to find himself on the bench unless he starts scoring. We bought Timo for goals. It's good that he makes these runs and like sometimes he really does help the team out. But bottom line, we signed Timo for goals and we're not getting them, And that's why we're paying over 100 million for a 28-year-old striker, because Timo failed to deliver. It's as simple as that. So he needs to step up. I'm not going to mollycoddle him anymore. He's, like you said, Laurenz, he's 25. He's starting to enter the prime of his career. I'm fed up with him taking these crap first touches. I'm sorry, you're a professional footballer. Sort that out, mate. I see Tino Andrin come off the bench today and absolutely look amazing when dribbling. Even his like shot. Do you remember that after that good run, he shot that powerful shot into the
That was a good save again. Like that's what I mean. Like that goalie made some good saves. One of Timo, to be fair, as well. But still,
but Timo doesn't shoot like that. He doesn't have that Fenderman placement. No, he just like scuffs it where it goes wide, or there's no power on his shots. That's what it seems with Timo. So obviously, I'm going to back him. I hope he makes me eat my words. But if he doesn't improve, he's going to be on the bench, man. It's as simple as that. Because, like you said, Laurenz, if we're trying to compete for the league, we can't have that every game. We can't be like, oh, we could have won today if Timo scored. We can't have that. We had that last season. Look where that got us in the top 4 battle, you know. This season, with Lukaku surely coming in, fingers crossed, we won't have that problem. Because, you know what? If Timo don't score, we got someone else who will, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly. And we have this comment here with Texas Blue saying, how long do you give Werner to totally give up on him? 1 month, 4 months, I suppose, the season? Or like me, 6 months ago? Nah, like it's... like I have another interesting comment here by CFC Alex saying, Timo creating space, getting chances, has a high work rate, but the attention is so focused on Timo missing chances because people saw him as a striker when he joined. Now, I do see where you're getting from with that. But if Hazard, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, whoever plays on the wing in this inside forward role missed the chances that Timo missed, I'd be equally as pissed off about it.
Lawrence, can I make a point here? See, the thing is, Timo does do this, Fairs, and people score from it, and that's why people credit Timo. But Pulisic, Ziyech and all that didn't get credit last season because Werner wasn't scoring the chances they make for him. People score the ones Werner makes, but Werner doesn't score the ones they make. So, yeah, it's great that he gets his assists, but he's making the other players look bad because they finish his chances. He don't finish theirs. So that is it's a valid point, but I'm not going to take that point there too seriously because he's missing their chances and they're scoring his. So
it's a very good point. It's a very good point. And that doesn't take away from the fact that Timo does help us create space, but it depends on the game. Like, I still think we're clearly going to keep Timo. So when we play the likes of Man City, when we play at Liverpool, when we play a big side in the Champions League, then Timo Werner is incredibly useful to have in your side. But not when you play low blocks, when you need to have a great first touch. Or like there was this one time in the second half when he tried to dribble past someone, he just ran straight into him. I'm like, do you need glasses? Like, could you not see him stand there? Like, how can it happen? You just run into a human. Like, he is there. You're trying to run past him, but you fail to and run into, like, how does I don't even understand, right? Like, and it's not like he ran trying to shoulder barge him off or something. Do you know what I mean? Like what we can expect from Lukaku. He might run at someone, just push them aside, doesn't matter. But not Timo Werner. He bounced off him and was crying on the floor. Pissing me off. Anyway, it's Timo Werner. And to see, the thing is, a month ago, I was kind of, feeling all chirpy and stuff about Timo Werner. I was like, yeah, like Cheyenne mentioned, he's looking funny in interviews, likeable and all sorts. No, it's true though. And then I saw this Arsenal game. I'm like, it's all back. It's all back in the mud. I can't handle it. I can't, like, I see the guy play football and I'm like, bruv, I watch my second division Austrian side and they can control the ball better. It's ridiculous. Like, them, man, and 1.5 grand a month, right? There's like a not well-paid normal job is what some of these players earn, and they can control the ball better than Timo Werner, who's on over £200,000 a week. It's ridiculous. Like, the fact that anyone accepts this and says, it's because we think of him as it's bollocks. He's a footballer. Learn how to control the football. Like, and it's not even like all these first touches are we under super close pressure. I'm not having a go at him for not controlling with his chest the long ball by Alonso. That's fine. No problem. But when you're in acres of space because Tottenham are awful and you can't control the ball, I can't have it. Like, I'm sorry I'm going on a rant here, but it just pisses me off that people still find excuses for everything that guy does, but slate everyone else. I'm like, why does Pulisic get criticism? He can at least control the ball. Like, I also agree he wasn't that great today. Sure, but also let's not forget he was also played out of position. Like, we always gave everybody else that excuse, like, Timo, he's playing left wing in the Lampard, that's why he's bad. But for Pulisic, it doesn't count or what? Fucking right wing back. This is horse crap, right?
Yes,
get controllable.
Love you.
It's pissing me right off. Do you know what I mean? It's pissing me right off. Sorry, I went on around there that didn't necessarily have planned. Let me just quickly get through halfway through the second half, around the 63rd, 65th, whatever minute. We made a lot of subs. As Werner, Ziyech, Alonso, Havertz, Kovacic, Zuma, and Rudiger came off and were replaced by Malang Sarr, Zappacosta, Ampadu, Tino Andrin, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Kennedy with a bald head, and Tammy Abraham. And I want to focus on a few of those. Obviously, we've talked about Malang Sarr already. Zappacosta is still here, but I see a lot of people always criticize him and stuff. I'm not saying he was great But personally, I don't think he was any worse than Hudson-Odoi or Pulisic were in terms of what he did off the right wing back role. In terms of, did he get less balls in than them? No. Did he get more balls in than them? No. But he wasn't any worse than them, I would say. But obviously, he's not a player that I want to keep. I'm just saying he wasn't that bad. Anyway, obviously, because one of you mentioned it, was it UConn, Tino Andrin? What a guy. Because obviously, he was very unfortunate, testing positive the other week. Obviously, they're missing the Bournemouth game, missing the Arsenal game, but now coming back. And the boy's looking quick. The boy is looking strong. Man was doing Zidane rolls. Man was doing flick-flacks everywhere, shooting, forcing good saves. What a guy. What a man. Honestly, I loved it. I still don't really know what his real position is. Some people tell me he's an 8. I'm like, doesn't play like one. Lampard used him as a left winger. Tuchel used him as a left inside forward. So I'm like, but you're telling me he's an 8. Okay. I don't know what position he is. I can't lie. But
I like to help you out with that. I remember watching some interview years back, and it was told that, you know, the academy players, they had to have one player from the senior squad to focus on and try and learn off. And who do you think Andrin picked? Let's take a guess.
Don't know.
Loftus-Cheek.
Of course he did. Big up, Ruben.
So I think a number 8 sort of role for Andrin would probably be where he's at. Be my guess.
Yeah. You know, the Lampard attacking 8, that'd be lovely for Andrew. Just unfortunate, Lampard played him left wing anyway, but okay, it's what it is. But I appreciate the donation by Texas Blue here. Big up, Laurenz, great stream, and love it. Appreciate it a lot. And then obviously, you brought him up there, Mr. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, my favourite player. People know this. So, you know, where people have, some people might like Werner and give him an excuse for everything. That's what I do for Ruben. But at least I openly admit that, you know, and I say, yeah, he might not be that great, but I'll pretend to anyway. So, you know, is it fair to say, oh, that's an interesting question. Before we get to Ruben, I'll ask both of you this question. Let me start with you, Shayan. Question here by Jester, or Jared, his real name. Anyway, Laurenz, is it fair to say that Andrin has a higher ceiling than Callum Hudson-Odoi? What do you think of that comment, Shayan?
I don't know. I'm just thinking right now the Jose Mourinho quote. If I speak, I'm in big trouble because I don't know. I feel like they both have good ceilings. I mean, Hudson-Odoi has played now and has won a Europa League and a Champions League. Yes, you could say the same thing for Andrin, but I mean, I think the Cheers Jeff answer here is it's obviously Callum Hudson-Odoi because obviously Andrin hasn't broken into the first team yet. He's like started one Champions League game against, what was it, Krasnodar last season, and you'd have to say Callum Hudson-Odoi, even though he's had that significant Achilles injury. But I think he was always the one that was the most rated from the academy boys. I mean, they all were mesmerized. I don't know if you guys watched the Loftus-Cheek, Callum Hudson-Odoi. Like there was an interview from the both of them. Yeah, I mean, everyone was mesmerized on how good Callum was. He was one of the first. Him and Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek were one of the first two to break out from all the academy players, and everyone was always mesmerized by Hudson-Odoi's runs against, I mean, the main one everyone always talks about is his run against Manchester City, and then he nails it right into the top corner. Mm-hmm. Probably Hudson-Odoi. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Andrin, and I'm not going to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch the Academy boys play on a janky live stream. So I wouldn't know.
I don't live in America and I don't watch the Academy. Like, I have shit to do in life. Like, I'm sorry. I catch every now and again, I catch a game. We have shit to do. I can't just watch Academy games all day long. So I'm a little bit with you there. Like, I haven't seen enough of Andrin to properly judge that. But I also haven't seen enough of Callum Hudson-Odoi in his best position to properly judge that. But then again, no one really knows what Andrin's best position is. Or he might think it's an 8, but clearly the managers disagree because they don't play him in an 8. Obviously, now we don't have one. But under Frank, we did, and he didn't play him there. So it's a tough one for me. Connor, do you have any more of an opinion on it? Or is it also a case of you need to see a bit more of Andrin to make a full judgment of that?
I've actually seen quite a fair bit of Andrin. He's one of the new players I like a lot. I still think he goes to Callum just because Callum was the star boy. He's been the best thing to come out of Chelsea for a good few years, you know, in terms of just talent. Not obviously player right now, but just in terms of talent, Callum's clear above anyone else. But Tino sort of also had that aura, you know, about him where he was just better than everyone else around him. Hence why he's like starting to break into that Chelsea first team picture. So I don't really like doing, you know, these comparisons of who has the higher ceilings of, you know, the Odois, the Pulisic, etc., etc. Sorry, my dog just picked up a squeaking toy. But I think it does go to Cho. But my gosh, if we can get these guys playing in the first team or really good loans where they're playing week in, week out for a good team that plays good football. I think these two guys could be really solid Premier League players in the future, both of them.
Hey, no, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And we have another super chat. I appreciate a lot by Ken Berry saying, I think Tino Andrin would be a better attacker than Ruben. Could Ruben Loftus-Cheek's future be as a 6 in this formation? At Fulham, he didn't really click as one of the dual 10s, which is kind of what they played. Obviously, Fulham is very different to how their dual 10s act like ours do. But, I mean, he's played 3 games, probably played in the Peterborough game as well, but obviously we couldn't see that. But in the Bournemouth, Arsenal and Tottenham game now, he's always featured as a 6. And I don't think he's had a bad game in any of them. Like, I think he's done well. Surely it will get him some getting used to. I don't think he's featured much as a 6 in his entire career. And it would have to be probably ideally next to Jorginho, who's probably the most disciplined and best positionally next to him, where he can really even play as that every now and again. But he can clearly do a job. He's looking quicker again. He's looking stronger again. He can get past people. Still doing some unnecessary step overs in the middle of the park for no reason. But aside from that, obviously big fan, as I always am. But let's get to Ruben. Again, I was just happy with him. Like I am a big fanboy, right? So I'm just happy to see him move well and look quick. Because whenever I watch him at Fulham, I'm like, you look slow. And when I watched him at Chelsea, like when he came back from injury in that first season under Frank, he just didn't look quick. He just didn't look sharp. It was just like lethargic, everything. So to see him quick and move around and look slim and look like just good, I'm happy to see that. Whether it will be enough for him to get significant game time this season, probably not. I hope he stays. Obviously, a lot of people think he will. I just hope he will and get every now and again. That's what I want to see. But so far in preseason and also today, I don't think you can complain much about him. Obviously, I think it was 2-1 at the time when all of these subs came on. In the end, we drew 2-2 from that point onwards. But it's definitely not down to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, in my opinion. So, I think it played well. Con, would you agree? Or what were your thoughts on Ruben today?
I think he was better against Arsenal than he was today.
I agree. I
don't really.
But then against Arsenal, he got 65 minutes and started.
Yeah.
So that's obviously a bit easier than coming on.
He came on, and to be honest, like in that second half when we made something, we didn't look great anyway,
Mm-hmm.
But I really hope we do keep Ruben and he can sort of pick up form, because my worry is we loaned out Gilmour, right, to Norwich, and I think highly of Gilmour. So I don't want Chelsea to buy like a Tuchel or a Declan Rice if we can keep like a Loftus for this season, because I want Gilmour to come back from that loan and start becoming a regular for Chelsea, because I think he's that good of a player, So if Ruben can, I don't know, just stay fit and just keep on working, keep on sort of developing. And, even if he just plays like a sporadic role where he can come on at the 60th minute and do a job, that will help Chelsea massively, because then we won't really need to sign a midfielder this season. So, I don't know. With Loftus, I think me and you share the same sort of thoughts there, Laurenz, where we just really want him to succeed because we love him. He's like probably that first academy product that we really loved, from all the Tammys, the Loftuses and all that. He was the first one. So, yeah, whether he can or not stay, whether he's going to be good enough, we'll have to wait and see whether he gets loaned out. But I really want him to stay, man. Even if he doesn't really feature, I want him to stay because I love Loftus, man.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I'll get to a couple of the members' comments in a second. Just give me a second, guys. It's just the whole Billy thing, because you got to think Jorginho turns 30 in December, I'm pretty sure. Kante just turned 30 a few months ago. So even if we sign a Tchouaméni or a Rice, I don't think that necessarily stops Billy, in my opinion. Obviously, it's difficult to judge how long can Kante play like this. Obviously, it started to deteriorate, not in ability, but in how long he can sustain it in a season, because he's picked up more and more injuries. Obviously, it got better towards the second half of last season, mind you, so let's hope it stays better now. But obviously, for the 18 months previous to that, he's had a lot of injuries. So let's see whether he's one of these players that can comfortably play until 34, 35, or whether he's, which I personally find more likely, probably going to start getting injured so much by 32, 33 that he's probably going to call it a day. But who knows, right? We could be totally wrong, and I'm hoping I'm wrong. So with that, and then Billy coming in, I see Jorginho eventually leaving, whether it's next summer or the season after, and then Billy just being his like-for-like replacement personally. So I don't think signing Tchouaméni or Rice necessarily stops Billy. But Shayan, what did you make of Ruben today? Obviously, I know you hinted on him already, but what did you make of him today before we get to the member questions and stuff?
I mean, I think Ruben, regardless if he plays well or plays bad, he always has a special place in your heart and everyone else's heart. And I think he should stay. I mean, I think he's looked good, as you said. I mean, an Achilles injury it's difficult. We even saw with Callum when he first came back under Frank, he didn't look that great either. And then the same thing with Ruben when he came back during Project Restart. He didn't look that great either. And then even when the start of the season happened, he didn't look that great either. And that's why he went on loan. And unfortunately, similarly with Ethan Ampadu, he was with the team that was dog poo. And we never really got to see the best out of him. And still, even there, he didn't perform at his best. A lot of Fulham fans would agree with that. But I think we're starting to see the best out of him. He, as you said, he's feeling himself. He's doing step overs in the middle of the field. Is it necessary? No. But do I like to see it? Yes, of course I do. And he's someone that Thomas Tuchel has had loads of praise for. He's someone that Antonio Conte has loads of praise for. And I think one of the questions someone brought up, if he can play a 6 or play higher up, he could obviously play he can play that false 9 position. Everyone kind of forgets Antonio Conte liked him further forward. He can be a guy that can supply the ball to everyone. He can move the ball forward. He can put his back to a defender, kind of similarly to Eden Hazard. Not to say he's the same player. I'm just saying he's able to turn away from defenders similarly to him. And so I don't see why we should be loaning him out. I think he's a shoo-in for this season. I mean, we've discussed in a video that's not out yet on my channel how there's not many options left for Chelsea in the midfield. So it would be really silly of us to loan him out when we don't have that much depth now at this point, if we're going to be loaning out any players. So I think I thought he was great. I think he's been great throughout all the preseason. We're starting to slowly see the best out of him. And I think midway through the season, we could be seeing Loftus-Cheek doing what Loftus-Cheek does best. And he's going to be killing in the midfield for us.
Hopefully. Hey, that is the positivity I'm here for. Some Ruben hype. That's what I love. RLC hype. Big fan. I mean, I agree. I do think, though, it would be important for him to find a position for him and let him just play there for a while, because even at Fulham, he's chopped and changed formations. There was Alex Goba who did a podcast with Robinson, a Fulham player, and even he was talking about Ruben was kind of struggling throughout the season because he was always shoehorned into different positions where they needed him most, because they knew how good he is, but because of how good he is, he could kind of play anywhere. Where they played him up front when, obviously, for some reason, Scott Parker was never using what's his name, Mitrovic, and he was playing as a 10 player, he was playing as an 8, he was playing also all over the shop, right? And that obviously doesn't make it easy. So I do think it's important for him that Tuchel makes a decision. Is he a 6? Do you want to use him in the front 3? Make a decision on that and let him get minutes and training specifically for that to get him properly on it again. That's what I personally think. But let me get to a couple of the questions. Obviously, Jester, we kind of touched on that already. I mean, I do sometimes see Pulley. I agree that sometimes Pulley gets a bit too annoyed by things, which I don't like sometimes. There's a lot of players that do this. Willian had this as well, gets a little bit annoyed by things on the pitch about himself. I don't think it's an awful thing if he can deal with it, but I think sometimes he puts himself down a bit too much with it and it kind of hinders himself a little bit. But hey, maybe I'm projecting a little bit here. And then we have a question here by CFC Alex again, which is I think what one of you guys hinted on, basically asking if Chelsea don't sign a midfielder this summer, is there a player you would pick as the 4th, 6th? Ampadu, Gallagher, Ruben. Well, Gallagher is already out on loan, so that's not an option. And actually, Shayan, he mentioned that video that we recorded for his channel, which isn't quite out yet. He brought up Ampadu. Do we even need Ampadu? Or do we even need Rice if we have Ampadu? I said, I haven't heard that one in a while. See, there you go. I hear it twice in 2 days. Well, Ampadu has just ruined his career by going to Leipzig and to Sheffield, unfortunately. So I don't see it. He came on today as a defender, not a 6. So unlikely, I suppose. Ruben, I don't see him as a 6 at all. Well, I didn't until a week ago. But now maybe I have to. It's a tough one. Do you genuinely think Ruben can be a 6? Or let me rephrase it. Did you, before the Arsenal game, think he could be? But now, are you potentially changing your mind? Gone?
Sorry, I was on mute. Because my dog's a bit of a pain. People hinted at it before of him playing as a 6, in a pivot. For me, I never saw it. But under Tuchel, why not? It's Tuchel. He knows what he's doing. He's great at moulding players into certain positions. Chilwell playing wing back, Hudson-Odoi playing wing back. 2 positions they're not really great at and they look good at now, you know? So under Tuchel, why not, man? I'm for it.
Yeah. Hey, I can only agree. I mean, obviously, Cheyenne, I know you would pick Ampadu. I know. Yeah, Melly saying there, Tchouaméni got a goal in the last game for Monaco. And then obviously, she said sad ending was racially abused, which of course is unfortunate. In my opinion, didn't get enough mention in the Chelsea fan base. Because, we usually care about everything that happens to potential signings, but for some reason I didn't see anything about this. But yeah, we have a good comment here by TK13, or a good thought, I suppose, saying, in my opinion, the only issue with Ruben playing as a 6 is that in transition he has the power, but does he really have the pace to get back to make a tackle? I think he has the pace. Sometimes I'm not sure whether he has the will to sprint back that much. Obviously, Sarri helped him with that, but obviously then he hasn't really played much, and then played much further forward for Fulham a lot. So that's my kind of small doubt, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Is there any other players that you want to bring up? Tammy, there wasn't really much to say about Tammy today. I don't know. Like he was Chalobah, yeah, go on. Talk about Chalobah, because I mean, Cheyenne mentioned him earlier in terms of centre-back pecking order. I'm not sure Miazga is ahead of Sarr, because Miazga played his first minutes today, and Sarr already played against Arsenal and Bournemouth too. But Chalobah is getting a lot of minutes. Chalobah is playing a lot of minutes. Tuchel, I saw it earlier on Twitter. Let me just get it back up to read it out to you. Nizar Kinsella said that, or tweeted that Tuchel said this post-game. Where was it? Tuchel gives Trevor Chalobah a ringing endorsement after today. He did really well. He is pushing his potential into his limits. So, if Koundé doesn't happen, because that has apparently been put on hold because Zuma has said no to West Ham, but apparently also prefers to stay in London. So I'm like, okay, so you don't want to go to Spain because you prefer to stay in London. Then we give you a London club and you don't want to go to them either. So what do you want? Do you just want to stay and sit on the bench? Do you want to do, what was that guy called? That player, the Dutch Donny, that stayed for like 5 years and just collected his money? Like, what is... You're muted. No, not Van Ginkel. Way longer ago. What was his name? Do you remember, Con?
No, but I don't have a clue who you're talking about.
I forgot. Anyway, so some Donny that we had for like we signed, kind of realized it was awful 2 weeks in, and then we wanted to get rid of him, but he was like, I'm actually quite happy with my £70,000 a week, so I'm going to just stay here for 5 years. Never played a single minute for us, but never even went alone, nothing. He was just there, chilling, taking his money in. So, no, not Kennedy Piazon. Way longer ago, guys. Way longer. I forgot his name. I do apologize. Who was I talking to recently? Someone told me and I forgot again. It's not a name that I remember. Anyway, I can't believe it either, Alex. You're meant to be the guy that knows things. Awful from you. But yeah, Chalobah, doing a good job, man. Doing a good job. I mean, sounds like Drinkwater. It's true. But Drinkwater has at least gone on loan. So Winston Bogart. That's it. Thank you, Chinos. Winston Bogart. Is he even Dutch? I don't know. His name sounds Dutch to me. That's it. Thank you. There you go. I love that. Anyway, he's done well. Chalobah's done well. And would I like Koundé? Yes. Do I need to necessarily splash 70 million for him? No, I don't think centre-back is our problem area, personally. I think Aspi Thiago, we can hold on for another year with Rudiger, Christensen, and obviously, one of Ampadu, Chalobah, whoever is around, right? Who cares? And obviously, Reece James can do a job at right centre-back too. But yeah, he's done really well. Do you have anything to elaborate on that specifically, Con? Because I'm impressed by him. The only thing that is tricky for me is his haircut and his stature and the fact that he wears his socks identical to Tammy, and I'm always confused. Why is Tammy playing centre-back?
I really like him, I think he's had a fantastic pre-season, and if it goes on merit, he stays in the squad this year for sure, because he can play in midfield as well. People tend to forget that, so I would like to see him stick around. I still want Koundé, don't get me wrong. I think Suma will be gone. And I think Koundé, I know 70 million is a lot, but if we got it, it's not my money, and we're getting an elite 22-year-old centre-back, so I'm all for that. But I think he could play a role for us for sure, 4 competitions, got Club World Cup this year. So why not, man? Why not? Sorry, a lot of loud traffic outside. The only thing that worried me today was how easily he got beaten by Bergwijn for the goal that went through Mendy's legs. That was the only issue that I've had with him all pre-season. But other than that, he's really impressed me. Top player.
Grealish, here we go, apparently. Fair enough. But again, I said this on the watch along earlier already. I just don't care. Like, the problem isn't that we don't beat City. That's not why we don't win the league. The problem is because we don't beat other teams. So I'm not that bothered what City do. We just need to make sure we beat the Villas, the Wolves, the Southamptons, the Norwiches now that they're up again. We need to make sure we win those games. Then we can worry about what City have and whether we can beat them in a one-on-one. If we just win our games, we're fine because we're good enough. We have a good enough manager to beat City on our day. That's no problem. We just need to win the other bloody games. So I'm not that fussed whether City get Kane or the City get Grealish. I mean, the problem with getting Grealish and Kane is Grealish with diving gets them 10 extra penalties and then Kane scores all of them. Because City usually miss all of them. And now they get more and score all of them. So that's why I'm not a fan. But in general, I know, Con, he's basically your man crush, Grealish, but yeah, a bit unfortunate. A bit unfortunate there. We have another super chat here by Jester. Just let me bring that up. Appreciate it a lot, obviously. Saying, just read a report out of Italy that Chelsea won Big Lou for the Super Cup. I think he will announce in the next 48 hours. I'm not sure whether he'll be announced in the next 48 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up announced on like Saturday, say, something like that. And he still gets, 2 days of training, and that's enough, let's be honest. What's going on today? Anyway. Hey, I'd love it. But before we get into the Lukaku chat, we'll get onto it. Just Shayan, anything you want to add onto Chalobah?
I mean, if one Chalobah doesn't work, take the other one. You know, if at first you don't succeed, you try again. Remember,
there you go.
His brother was also in the mix as well. I think he's played well. I mean, last season he was at Lorient, I believe. I mean, he was one of their big stars throughout the season. And as Con said, I was going to add on to it. He can play midfield as well. He's just another version of Ethan Ampadu, which I really like to see. And why not? I hate us spending big money on players like Koundé and things like that. And I'm happy that we have him, if Laurenz is still alive, to come back and guide us our way.
I'm back. Sorry, I just had to cough my heart out. I do apologize. Funny comment there by Adash. Chalobah is already twice the player Ben White is and doesn't cost 50 million. I agree with this. And someone said, is Ziyech going to AC Milan? I know Giroud was talking about it, but no, he's not. But ladies and gentlemen, by the way, subscribe if you haven't already and smash the like button. We haven't even hit 100 likes yet. So go down below, smash the like button right now. Let's get to at least 100 likes ASAP because that's ridiculous. Update, Lukaku is a done deal. By who? You're always happy to DM me, of course, Jester, if there's anything you need to link me. But yeah, one other player that I might want to discuss in a little bit more detail. It might be a weird one to some of you, but what about Kennedy? Like, what are we doing with that kid? Like, why? What would like? And also, I don't. There's some decisions by Tuchel in these last 2 games which I'm like a bit confused about. So you leave Alonso out of the Arsenal game and play Baba Rahman, and then Alonso starts today, plays 65 minutes, and then Kennedy comes. I'm so confused. But anyway, it's like, oh well. Obviously, there was some rumors that we might try to push Kennedy to Sevilla to get Koundé. Who knows at this point? But there's a lot of players which I'm a little bit confused about sometimes. But before we get into Lukaku, I have one more question to both of you guys. Officially, this is our preseason games done now. Obviously, we'll be doing a stream tomorrow afternoon or evening at 6 p.m. Tune in for that, guys. But we won't have these guys on, so I'll ask them. Judging off right now. Okay, it's a tough one because we might have Lukaku, we might not. Let's say without Lukaku, who would you start in the front 3 against Villarreal in the Super Cup? Let me go with you first, Shayan.
Could Con actually go first? I need to really think about this one.
Okay, Con, go on.
A lot of brain power.
With or without Lukaku?
Without Lukaku. Without.
Havertz, Ziyech, Pulisic.
Havertz, Ziyech, Pulisic. But is that judging off Pulisic's preseason performance or just because you like him?
I think you know the answer.
Yeah, because don't you think like by then Mount will have been here 2 weeks? Why wouldn't he start?
To be honest, if we're going by what we've seen, I'd probably put Hudson-Odoi on the left.
Okay. I mean, it's an interesting one. If you say Mount doesn't start, you have to presume Reece James doesn't start, and then Callum probably needs to play right wing back.
True. And then we put Pulley. So we don't have to watch Furness scribble another good chance in front of goal. Because my blood pressure gets too hot watching this guy, man. It goes too high watching Werner. I can't lie.
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Before I get to you, Shayan, I'll give you my thoughts as well. I think, especially with this apparent in-house friendly that we're going to have, which Care for Youth posted earlier on Sunday, I do believe Mount definitely starts. Reece will see, depending on how Callum does in training, I suppose, and how attacking Tuchel wants to be against Villarreal. But I think I reckon it's going to be Mount, Kai, and I'd love to say Pulley, but man, he didn't even start today. It's going to be Werner if we haven't signed Lukaku. And if we have and he's ready to play by then, it's hopefully going to be another question for you guys. And I'll put both of you questions together because I keep thinking of this. Is a front three of Mount, Havertz, and Lukaku, as much as it sounds mouth-watering, is there enough acceleration in that? Is that a problem so we can't even play that?
No, Lukaku's well quick, bro.
No, he's quick. Havertz is quick too, but not acceleration quick. They're sprint quick, but not acceleration.
What you gotta understand is, Werner has that acceleration where he can just beat players. Lukaku has that pure power. So even if someone's next to him, bro, they're not tackling him, bro. Like he's powerful and quick, bro. I would happily miss out Werner's like acceleration for Lukaku's, bro. He's so powerful, bro. It's like he has this force field around him. Like
I know. But what I'm saying is, does it need a Pulisic or a Hudson-Odoi type of one-on-one type acceleration pace type player around a powerhouse like Lukaku? If you also have a tall player who's still agile and quick like Kai, or Mount, right? Do you need that, or is it okay if you just have those three? That's basically my question.
Hudson-Odoi wing back, innit? Hudson-Odoi wing back. Solves that problem a little
Sure,
bit.
but throughout the season, we're not going to have that every game. It's going to be reset wing back for the most part, I presume, at least.
Yeah. But then again, when we're playing against them low blocks, we don't really need that much pace because we're just going to have possession in front of their box. So you want players who can finish, Havertz and Lukaku, and Mason Mount as well. So don't see it being an issue.
Fair play. Shayan, what about you? Now, first of all,
that does not sound mouth-watering or whatever you were saying at all. Mount, Lukaku, Havertz? No, that sounds disgusting.
What? Who would you want to play?
What?
I don't know. That doesn't sound cohesive. It doesn't sound like they play off each other. I'd personally have Lukaku side by side with Ziyech and Pulisic. Pulisic on the left and Ziyech on the right.
So you're not going to play Mount and Havertz?
I mean, it depends on the situation, but if you want something that's mouth-watering that makes me quake in my boots, not Havertz, Lukaku, and Mount. No.
See, this is why I get you on the channel. You come with the Ampadu theory. You come with this. It's mad.
It not to say Lukaku is a similar player to Giroud, but Lukaku would feed off so well from Christian Pulisic and from Hakim Ziyech. I mean, Christian Pulisic plays with similar types of players, with Josh Sargent, with Daryl DK, with the U.S. men's national team, and I guess GSC's irrelevant. I know, but I'm using this as comparison. And Lukaku's obviously a way better version of all those players, but obviously they're players that are aspiring to be someone like Romelu Lukaku. And if Christian Pulisic could play with a player like him, oh my God, they could feed off each other so well. I mean, Lukaku could be the wall, Lukaku could be the dummy, Pulisic could be the dummy for Lukaku, and then Hakim Ziyech can always cross the ball in, and the same thing, vice versa. Romelu Lukaku could also play dummy for Ziyech. Ziyech could play dummy for Lukaku, and then he could also be the wall to ping it back to Ziyech to lay it off to his left foot, which he did so well at Ajax, where we always saw a bunch of his goals, always him getting the ball laid off and then it's pinged right into the top corner when he gets just that little bit of space. But not with Havertz. He's creative, and it seems like he almost plays so well with Timo. Maybe it's just because Timo doesn't score, but like they almost have like a weird cohesive.
Yeah, but that will come once we finally stop starting Werner all the time. He will have time.
I don't see it with Lukaku personally. I really don't. I just don't think.
Oh, I do. I
don't. That's very debatable.
I don't think Chelsea signed a player for 110 mil if they know they can't play Kai next to him.
I mean, obviously
he's like the golden boy.
Obviously. I mean, he will be able to play with him, but it's not something that's mouth-watering or would be something that I think is what Kai would prefer. I think a better option for him is actually Timo but that's just me personally. I mean, when you think about his time at Bayern Leverkusen, the strikers he's played with, I mean, no one to the caliber of Romelu Lukaku. All the strikers he's played with, for example, like Chicharito, not necessarily big names, but almost help Kai shine in the light. Players that do the off the ball work. So maybe with Mount, obviously he'd play well, but I don't think with Lukaku it's not like it wouldn't work out. Obviously they're both great players, but I don't know. I don't like it. No, it doesn't seem good to me.
It's interesting because while I think it's outrageous to say it doesn't sound mouth-watering, I do see to some extent what you're saying, because I'm actually not the biggest fan of Kai in this right inside forward role. I think he's not direct enough there. When he plays as the 9 in this role, he can drop and act like a 10. But in this wide role, I think either he just needs to get more used to it and improve on it, that's fine. But in terms of what I've seen so far of him, I'm like, I want to see a bit more of you there. So that's why I was kind of thinking of whether it's Mount or Hubbard, everyone will have a different position, right? Or everyone will have a different opinion, sorry. But I do think that having a Pulisic, if he's on form, or a Kalamazoo, if he's on form in that role, could help both of them together drastically. Just because I think it's too much like bulldozer Lukaku, plus obviously whatever else he brings, and then this silky smoothness of Kai and Mount. And I feel like I need a little, like maybe it needs something extra too. And that's why the point that Con made with we wouldn't sign Lukaku if we can't play with Kai. We didn't sign Kai for as much money as we did last year if he isn't going to start pretty much every game. Let's not kid ourselves, right? And we know Mount isn't dropped. So unless Mount plays in midfield, I'm intrigued to see how it will work. I'm not saying it won't work. I'm saying I feel like maybe some different element could make it work better. But I suppose it brings us on to the Lukaku argument or discussion. Just to, clarify to everyone that might have missed it, like Shayan. So basically, 2 days ago, none of us were thinking about Lukaku. It was all, let's get Haaland. All of a sudden, it comes out, we've apparently made 2 bids, which no one had any idea about. Then we made another bid, which got rejected for 100 million euros plus Alonso. And then it got said, yeah, we're preparing this new offer of either 120 or 130 million pounds. Both reports have been out there. Who knows? So it's either 120 million or 130 million euros, which is then 110 or 100 million pounds, which is apparently now going to get accepted. Whether Inter ultras like it or not, hanging up banners saying, to the board, promises should be kept. I'm like, well, no, because you're in Italy and everyone's corrupt. Sorry. I have Italian blood. I'm allowed to say this. But Lukaku is coming, basically. Lukaku is coming. Like Jester said earlier, potentially even in time to play in the Super Cup. How do we feel about this? Because obviously I've spoken to you about it to some extent already, Shayan. So I'll go to Con first. Because I see a lot. I did a poll, and actually let me scroll back to it because I'm actually intrigued by, how people view it. Because obviously a lot of people wanted Haaland, and I think all of us wanted Haaland more so too than Lukaku. Let me just scroll back to the poll. 1 second, guys. I'm almost there. So basically my question was, how happy would you be if Chelsea signed Romelu Lukaku? Out of 10, click the answer below. I had an answer 0 to 2, 3 to 6, 7 to 8, and 9 to 10. 48% was 9 to 10, 35% was 7 to 8, 10% was 3 to 6, and 7% was 0 to 2. But obviously I don't know. Maybe those 0 to 2 were opposition fans, right? Because for me, and let me just summarize it, and then I'll put it to both of you guys, it's a case of you have 5 top strikers in the world that are real strikers. I suppose maybe you have to include Ronaldo in it now because he's just not playing winger anymore. But in terms of excluding Ronaldo, Messi, that type of thing, in my opinion, you have Kane, you have Lewandowski, you have Haaland, you have Benzema, and you have Lukaku in no particular order. Those are the 5, right? Benzema is 33, also unavailable. Lewandowski, unavailable. Haaland, I personally back the board so much so that I don't think it's like we were too stingy to pay an extra 40 million. I think it's more of a case of they just said no. Not we didn't want to pay 175 million euros. Because otherwise I don't think we would have gone for Lukaku. So then and Kane was never going to happen. Like people that think Chelsea were going to sign Kane, you live in a dream world. This is not real life, right? Tottenham were never ever, we could have been £2 billion and Daniel Levy would not sell Harry Kane to Chelsea. Right? So we got the best option that was potentially available to Chelsea Football Club. Whether you think Lukaku is not the greatest striker in the world or not, is kind of relevant here because he's still better than what we've got. And I don't think anyone would disagree with that. And he's the best one that was available. And I don't think a lot of people would disagree with that. So what more can you really ask? He slimmed down when he went to Inter because they have capable nutritionists, unlike Manchester United. Apparently, Kante for 3 months straight just worked on his first touch, which is now drastically improved, which I still don't think people fully understand because they think, okay, he was at Manchester United, he was awful at that. He goes away for 2 years and he's the same player. Not quite how football works, boys. Drastically improved at that. Like Kante, he's strong, he's quick, he can finish, left foot, right foot, header. He's much better at heading, by the way, than Erling Haaland. He's much better right foot than Erling Haaland has. Sure, left foot and out left foot finishing, I think Haaland's even right now better. But all the other things, Lukaku is better at. Lukaku is experienced. We just talked about all of these front three, right? All of them are young. Yes, we don't have a completely inexperienced team because Jorginho, Kante, Kovac have experience. Aspi, Thiago Silva, Rudiger are experienced players too. But the attacking players, they're all inexperienced. They're all young. Mount, Kai, Pulisic, Callum. I suppose in theory, Tammy, but let's even ignore him. Timo Werner is only 25 and hasn't really done anything other than play for like some can club, right? So it's sort of inexperience in there. So to add Haaland would have clicked like crazy, in my opinion. Maybe not week one, but eventually. But I think there's a bigger guarantee that Lukaku clicks right now. Also, a stat that people, I think, ignore. Not only did he score 24 goals last season, he also created 24 big chances, the most of any player in the entirety of Serie A, which includes the player that everyone now thinks the greatest player in the world, Chiesa from the Ronaldo, and whoever, Dybala, who of course was injured for quite a bit of the season, but still, not just scoring second most, I think, behind Ronaldo because Penaldo, but also creating most chances of anyone in the league. So, like, Lukaku does not just do one thing. And I don't want to now sound like, oh, now that we're signing him, I'm making him out to be the greatest player in the world. Absolutely not. I still would have preferred Haaland. But he's still bloody good. And I think everyone needs to just start accepting that he's bloody good. Also, some people don't. I know, but I know I do. I like players that like the club. You don't have to love the club, but they like the club. I think that's a big thing. And I mean, obviously there's this video when he was 16 and came to Stamford Bridge for the first time saying, oh, what a beautiful stadium. One day I'll play here and I'll have succeeded, blah, blah, all these lovely things. And even, unfinished business. And also, like, it's still his club. It's his first love. I think he said that when he was Everton at some point. That probably didn't change, right? I like that. But I still would have preferred Haaland, but I'm very happy with Lukaku. Sorry, I just went on a bit of a waffle there just to explain the whole standpoint. But, Con, you can now happily agree, disagree, or add your extra points to it. I think you're muted.
Sorry, I was having a drink.
There you go.
Lukaku is a world-class striker. It's as simple as that. Haaland, we wanted him not because he's better, just because he's younger. We probably could have him for more years. But then again, we could have 3-4 good years out of Lukaku. We could have 2-3 good ones out of Haaland until he'd want to leave. I think we all saw the rumours of Raiola was trying to put in that get-out clause, Mm-hmm. So obviously his idea wasn't to stay at Chelsea for long term, because why would you want that? Mm-hmm. So we could have Lukaku just for as much as we'd have Haaland. Of course, the financial side is we can't sell Lukaku for what we could sell Haaland for. But then again, Is it old money? Is it going to affect us? No. And Chelsea were owned by Roman Abramovich. Don't know if people know, but he's got a bit of money, and I don't think him not being able to sell Lukaku would really hurt him too much, So I don't know why people are complaining. It's actually shocked me. Of course, we all wanted Haaland. I think everybody did, but what an alternative Lukaku is. It's like you're getting a better player right now. You're getting a better player. Lukaku right now is the better player, and he's really improved since going to Serie A, and I mean big time improved. I'm a massive fanboy of Lautaro Martinez. I think Laurenz, I like Martinez, and just how Lukaku's helped him develop. That's why I see him having the sort of combination with Kai. I know Timo sort of fits Martinez's profile a bit better, but I really see Kai really stepping up like Lautaro did when Lukaku came. And he's a bulldozer, man. He's done it in the Prem before. He scored, I think, 22 plus goals in like 6 out of 7 seasons. In these last 6 out of 7 seasons. So he guarantees goals. He guarantees chances. He can hold up. He can run in behind. He's got the lot. He's all round complete. Stop crying, man. Like, you want world class players? We're gonna sign a world class player. No one should moan. Anyone who moans because it's not Haaland, that is the definition of spoiled. I'm sorry.
Hey, I agree. And before I put it to Shayan, I do want to explain one thing to people. Obviously, Lukaku is 28 years old. You know, we talk about 3 years, 4 years. In 4 years, he's 32 years old. Just to give you a few examples of other players at 32 years of age. Karim Benzema last season at 32 years of age had his best ever season for Real Madrid. Lewandowski this season at 32 scored 41 Bundesliga goals in 29 or 28 appearances or starts. Didier Drogba had his highest goal-scoring season of his entire career at the age of 32. So even in 4 years' time, the likelihood of Lukaku being done is very slim. Chances are he'll go to 34. So we'll probably give him a 5-year contract now. We'll extend his contract by another 2 years when he's 30, probably. Ending up giving him a contract until he's 34. And then he either leaves for a free or we sell him at 32 for about 20 million, 30 million, right? To me, that doesn't sound that bad. But, well, yeah, Zlatan is 55 and scores. Yeah, but Zlatan is a bit of a... Zlatan is different. But, Shayan, how do you see the whole Lukaku stuff?
One thing you forgot to add with the Lukaku stuff is you got to say he's coming to MLS once he's done. He's coming to the MLS. That's what we want to see.
If they pay enough money, sure.
No, he'll come. He wants to come to the LA. I mean, he has a house with Paul. Like once upon a time when he first joined United, he was in LA like the whole time. So hopefully he comes to MLS. But Lukaku, I'm not gonna say anything bad because there's nothing bad really to say. Obviously, people are upset about not getting Haaland. I'll put it this way for everybody. Lukaku is a proven entity in the Premier League. Laurenz, you've told me this. He's enlightened me. He's a proven entity, one of the youngest ever players to get to 100 goals in the Premier League.
Already scored more Premier League goals than Didier Drogba. I think about that.
I know it's
mental.
bonkers. And I was fortunate enough. This is my only Chelsea flex. I was fortunate enough to see him score his first ever Chelsea goals against my local team in a friendly. And at first, when I saw him play, I was like, wow, this guy, who is this dude? He's like, what is this, the reincarnation of Drogba? And obviously it stings that we once upon a time had him and sold him for like, 25 million to Everton. And now we're buying him back for 100 mil. It does give me a little bit of Paul Pogba vibes. I mean, at least we sold him for some money, unlike Manchester United did with Paul Pogba. But as Con said, I don't know what the complaint can be here. Because obviously you don't get Haaland, but obviously 1, you don't deal with Mino Raiola. 2, you don't get a snobbiness. And 3, 5 years down the line, you don't know if he's going to be going to a Real Madrid, Barcelona once they're back to their peak forms. We're just going to be another stepping stone within his pathway. And then he's expressed he still likes Chelsea, as surprising as that is, as they threw him out like a rag doll. And I'm surprised he still likes the club as much as he does. And as Colin also said, he has absolutely transformed in Serie A. I mean, if you're going to say it's Serie A and the league's no good, it's a one-horse race, well, he was probably one of the biggest reasons and the catalyst that broke it not being a one-horse race. So if that doesn't prove it to you, I don't know what will. But yeah, I would be really bad if you're upset because we didn't get Haaland, we're getting Lukaku. I mean, Erling Haaland, he's great and all, but he's not... It's not the end all be all with him. If he came, we would have been having to break the bigger than the bank is. As size of the bank is, we would be breaking more of that bank. And so, yeah, I think it's nice to see. But obviously, Laurenz knows how I feel personally. I'd back Tammy Abraham. That's just me though, personally. But I'm okay with.
I don't even think you back him. I think you just love him.
Of course. Well, if anyone that comes straight from Cobham, has been there since he's a kid, and he has nothing but high praise for Chelsea and always loves supporting the club. I like him a lot too. It's like a mutual love.
There you go.
If only
just that comment.
Sorry.
No, speak.
I said only if Tabby was a good footballer, you know.
There you go. I mean, I still reckon he's better than Timo, but you know, each to their own. FPL guide here saying Atalanta are ready to invest 40 million euros to sign Chelsea forward Tammy Abraham this summer via Di Matteo. See, that's so bonkers to me that out of Italy, which by the way, the pandemic hit one of the worst out of the whole world. in general, don't have that much money, especially a club like Atalanta. Sure, they qualify for the Champions League, which I'm sure helps, but in general, they're not exactly a stacked club from a small city in the north of Italy. Like, I know they played in the San Siro in the Champions League, but that's because their stadium wasn't even ready for Champions League football. Like, right? The fact that they're as good as they are is the crazy thing anyway. The fact that they're happy to spend 40 million euros, which is probably what, 35 million pounds, and but we couldn't get anyone in the Premier League to do that is stupendous to me. When in the Premier League, everyone's stacked with money. Like, people always say Chelsea, Man City ruin everything. Well, did you see what Villa have done so far this window? I know they're getting 100 million right now, and they probably knew this before they signed Bailey and shit, but still.
Laurenz,
I
think they're going to sign Tammy because I think if Lukaku comes to us, Zapata will go to Inter, and then
it's a domino effect.
Yeah, domino.
Exactly. And I think Tammy would be absolutely brilliant for Atalanta, and I'd be very happy for him if he got that move. I think he'd have a great time over there, personally. And now we have another super chat as the last thing to really touch on, said by Isaac Toch. Sorry if I butchered your name a lot, but I do appreciate the donation. Saying, I think it might be a tough season or a rough season for Pulisic. It doesn't look like Tuchel will give him a chance on the left. See, you could be right. You could be, because 2 preseason games, never played on the left. Well, he did left wing back, but not left in the front 3. So it's like, not even in preseason you get that chance. I mean, sure, you could still use him there in the Premier League, but Puddy really needs to get the finger out his own bum and just, when he's given a chance, just really turn up. Like, after this Champions League semi-final interview, he was like, in my opinion, still didn't like that interview when he was like, yeah, it was super frustrating, I have to prove myself over and over and over again, but I just look to God and all this waffle. I'm like, I get it, but we just qualified for the Champions League final. How about you moan less? Anyway.
Do you mind if I intervene with this question?
Please do.
Thing is, Christian Pulisic, like, I'm not the biggest USA supporter. If anything, I'm not even a USA supporter, but obviously I back Christian quite a bit, all because he's having a little bit of a rough preseason. Everyone keeps forgetting, he's having as infamous as this international trophy is, the Nations League hangover. I mean, they finally broken the duck, beating Mexico in a big competition in a final, and maybe he's having a hangover from that. I mean, back-to-back big finals for his club and country, and he's proven many times under Frank, in the beginning under Thomas Tuchel, that he is a guy that has to play. He shows up in big games. I'm not going to touch upon the comments he made, because that's just as Laurenz would say to me, it's just an American thing. They're just kind of, I guess, snobby, as I would say, and I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be important. I mean, why are everyone thinking all because he hasn't played that much in preseason? I don't know where he's going to go. Chelsea are going to be playing in 4 competitions. No, sorry, 5 now. The Club World Cup as well. Like, he's going to play, and there's going to be opportunities where
but I don't think anyone's disagreeing that he'll get game time. I think what he wants is start pretty much every game. That's the only thing he's happy with. Not playing in 2 or 5 competitions. Do you know what
depending if the Lukaku deal, I know everyone's saying it's a done deal, but obviously I don't think anything's a done deal until you see the tap-in merchant Fabrizio Romano tweeting it out.
I don't understand why you call him a tap-in merchant. Can you enlighten?
He's a tap-in merchant.
Yeah, but I don't get it.
So you know how Ronaldo's a tap-in merchant, but he takes all the credit for the goals and does his and all that.
I love that.
That's what Fabrizio Romano is.
Brilliant. Love that. But hey, he's made big moves to be that guy that he can small little guy says this is his, and he can just go true.
That's what I'm saying. That's why he's the tap-in merchant. But Christian Pulisic, he's gonna have a hangover the beginning of this season. But trust me, mark my words, Christian Pulisic, he's gonna have his best season at Chelsea this year under the man that brought him at Borussia Dortmund, Thomas Tuchel. Trust me.
As long as he changes Tuchel's mind of being a sub. But Con, obviously being the Pulisic fanboy, I've almost got 2 Pulisic fanboys here. I don't even disagree with any of you guys, by the way. I'm just saying, I hope for him this isn't true. I just hope Tuchel gives him the chances. But how do you see? What's your reaction to the comment?
Yeah, it looks like Tuchel loves Werner on that left-hand side, and if we get Lukaku, Werner isn't going to start up top. So where's he going to start when he plays? He's going to start on the left. And then, like you said last stream, he likes Mount. Yeah. So he has to fight for his place to get there. And, sometimes in football, you can't always get what you want, You can't always be that left winger starting. So when he gets put on the right, he has to produce, man. And I love him, but attitude fix up a little bit, drop the entitledness, because you've got the ability. You can be one of the best players in this Chelsea team if you want to be. The only person stopping him is him. So if he can shake this little, I don't know what it is right now. I saw it in the last 3 months with him. I really didn't like it. It was like this entitled attitude from him. If he can shake that off and just focus on the football, he has no problems this season. He carries on with that, he might have a bit of an issue.
I could not agree more with that last statement. And I think it's a good place to end it, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're still on the road to, I suppose, 12K, but in the end, 15, and then the big 20K. So get subscribed if you haven't already. Of course, check out Con on Twitter. Check out Next Generation Football podcast on YouTube. And, of course, Cheyenne on Twitter as well. Links are all down in the description below. I appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. Let's see when we do announce Lukaku. That's the latest when I'll be back. But I'm back anyway tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK time with CFC Pice, who was at the game today, and also, forgot his name, Jonathan. So a new guest on the channel. So definitely tune in for that. We're going to discuss some more Lukaku, I suppose, and whatever else comes out. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, subscribe, smash the like button. Make sure we hit at least 100 likes right now. Appreciate all the donations today. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards. And I'll see you. Wait.